Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, in this moment we're going to explain about case study in English language teaching. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Muhtar and my friend.
Aan Nurmanhamidi.
Okay, in this moment we are going to talk about the background information of case study, definition of case study, goal of case study, principle, characteristic, types, key point, and how to develop, advantages and disadvantages, and the last is conclusion. Okay, let's go to the first material, background information. The case study method is a research and teaching approach that has grown considerable, recognizing in recent years, particularly in fields such as education, social science, and English. Language teaching or ELT. This method emphasizes the in-depth the examination of specific case, allowing educator and research to explore complex phenomena in their real-world context. To understand the background of the case study method in English language teaching, it's essential to examine the origin, evolution, and the key theoretical foundation. The next is the definition of case study. The case study method is a teaching and research approach involving in-depth exploration and analysis of specific real-life situation or case, and where it's believed that learners develop a deeper understanding by examining a concrete example. Case study is a model that emphasizes understanding complex phenomena within their real-world context, encouraging students to engage with the nuances and detail of a particular case. Through this, students are expected to build critical thinking, analytical skill, and the ability to draw insight that can be applied to broader context. Okay, next is goal. The goal of case study is four. The first is deep understanding. A fundamental goal of the case study approach is for students to develop deeply into specific case, enabling them to understand the complexities and nuances of real-world situation. And the second is contextual learning. Case studies place students in authentic real-world scenarios, fostering a connection between theoretical knowledge and practical application. And the third is critical analysis and problem solving. Another goal in develop student abilities to critically analyze situation, identify key issues, and propose well-reasonable solutions. And the last in transferable skill. Case studies aim to equip students with skill and can be applied across various fields and professions. Next material is the principle of case study. Case study has 7 principles. The first is principle of real-world context. A case study must be grounded in real-life situation, providing students with the opportunity to explore authentic scenario, whether the case focus on individual organization or community. The context should reflect actual challenge and dynamic. And the second is principle of inquiry and exploration. Learning through case studies begin with an inquiry-based approach. Students engage in asking questions, gathering data, and analyzing information to uncover insights about the case. This principle fosters curiosity and encourage deeper investigation into the subject matter. And the third is principle of multiple perspective. Case studies often involve complex scenarios with various stakeholders and viewpoints. Students are encouraged to consider multiple perspectives and analyze how different factors interact within the case, promoting a comprehensive understanding. Fourth is principle of reflection and analysis. Reflection is a critical aspect of the case study method. Both student and educator are encouraged to analyze the process, evaluate their finding, and considering lesson learned. This principle helps students develop metacognitive skill and deeper appreciation for the complexities the real world problem. And the five is principle of collaboration. Collaboration is often integral to the case study method, particularly in educational setting. Students work in groups to discuss their interpretation, share insight, and construct solutions, mirroring real-world teamwork dynamic. And the sixth is principle of practical application. The ultimate goal of case study is to apply theoretical concept to practical scenarios. This principle ensures that students not only understand the theory, but also how to implement the effectively in real-world situation. The last is principle of ethical consideration. Case studies often involve sensitive or complex issues requiring students and research to consider ethical implication. This principle undercover the importance of maintaining confidently representing the participant and ensuring the study outcome are used responsibly. And the next is characteristic of study case. The characteristic of case study are six. The first is in-depth exploration. Case studies involve detailed and comprehensive investigation of a single case or multiple related cases. Research gather and verify data from the different perspectives to fully understand the complexity of the phenomenon being studied. The second is focused on real-world context. Case studies are drawn in real-world situations. They often focus on actual events, individual, organizations, or communities, helping to understanding how theories or concepts apply in practice. The third is holistic approach. This method takes a broad view considering all factors that influence the case, such as social, cultural, economic, or psychological elements. It looks at the case from multiple angles, provide a well-rounded understanding of the context the issues involved. First is contextualized analysis. The analysis in case study is closely tied to the specific context in which the case exists. The research examines how the case is shaped by its environment and how environment influence the case. Five is use of multiple data resources. Case studies often rely on variety data sources such as interview, observation, document, and archival record to ensure a well-rounded view of the case. The last is flexible methodology. The case study method is flexible and adaptable. Researchers may adjust their approach as new information emerges as the study evolves, allowing for deeper insight in the study progress. The next material is the type. Will be going presented by Aan Nurmanhamidi.
Okay, for the next material is the type of case study. The first one, we have collective case study. Collective case studies focus on comparison or generalization based on data collected from multiple cases. This case study uses multiple cases to understand a broader phenomenon. The next types of case study is descriptive case study. The goal of this case study is to provide a detailed picture of a particular situation or phenomenon. The third case study is explanatory case study. It's designed to explain cause and effect relationship in a case. For example, why a particular policy produces a particular outcome in education. The fourth case study is exploratory case study. This case study is to explore a new area of research that is only fully understood. Sometimes it primarily steps before more in-depth research. The fifth case study is instrumental case study. This case study focuses on specific case as a means to understand a broader theory or concept. And the sixth case study is intrinsic case study. These case studies are studied because they are of interest to the researcher, not because of their relevance to a particular theory. Okay, for the next, we're going to talk the key components or the key point of case study. The first one, we have introduction. The introduction provides a clear overview of a research focus, highlighting to the problem or question being investigated and why it is significant. It briefly explains the context, background, setting up the relevance of the study for both practical and theoretical purpose. The introduction also outlines the main objective and sometimes hints at the methodology or expected outcomes. The next key point or key component is case description. This section describes the specific case in detail, including relevant background information about the subject, location, or system being studied. It provides essential context, such as the unique circumstance or key characteristics that make the case significant. The description helps the reader understand the situation and why it was chosen for the analysis. The next key component or key point is literature review. The literature review summarizes existing research and theoretical frameworks related to the study. It identifies key studies, concepts, or models that inform the research and highlight gaps in knowledge that the current case study aims to address. This section establishes the study's academic grounding and shows how it contributes to broader discussion. The next component is methodology. This section explains the research design and the method used to collect and analyze the data. It describes the tools like interview, survey, or observation, participant and procedures involved, as well as the rationale for selecting them. The methodology ensures the study is reproducible and transparent while addressing ethical consideration. For the next component is data analysis. In this section, the raw data is processed and analyzed to identify patterns, themes, or key insights. It explains the analytical technique, use statistic tool or coding method, and organize the findings into a logical structure. This is where raw observation or response are translated into meaningful conclusion. Next component is result. This result section presents the key findings of the study clearly and concisely, often using tables, graphs, or charts to support them. It focuses on the outcome of the analysis without interpretation, leaving the discussion for the next section. This result answers the research question based on the collected data. For the next component is discussion. Here in the discussion, the results are interpreted and connected to the research question, existing literature and theoretical frameworks. This section evaluates the significance of the findings, explores implications, and considers the study implication. It highlights how the result contribute to understanding the issue or field. The next component is conclusion. The conclusion summarizes the main findings, reflects on their broader implication, and sometimes offers recommendations for practice or policy. It reiterates the importance of the case study and suggests areas for further research, tying the study's outcome back to the original objective. Next component is reference. The reference section lists all the sources cited in the case study, ensuring proper attribution and academic credibility. It allows readers to locate the source for further reading and typically follows a specific citation style like APA, MLA, or Chicago. And the last component is appendix. Appendices include supplementary materials that support the study but are not central to the main text. This can be raw data, detailed chart, questionnaires, or additional documents that provide transparency or context without cluttering the main section. Okay, for the next, we are going to how to develop a case study. The first one, we had to identify the research purpose and select the case. So we have to define the objectives, clearly articulate what you aim to achieve. For example, are you exploring a specific phenomenon, or are you analyzing a particular process or testing a theory? Select a case. The case could be an individual, group, or organization or event. Ensure the case bounded, meaning its scope is clearly defined with a specific time frame or setting. Example, a school implementing a new teaching method over an academic year. Consider cases that are relevant to your research objective, representative of the phenomenon being studied, unique or unusual to provide deeper insight, especially for intrinsic case studies. The second that you have to do is conduct a literature review. You explore existing research, like study previous case study and theories related to your topic to understand the context. Identify gaps or unanswered questions that your case study could address. And then you frame your research. Use theoretical frameworks or model from a literature to guide your analysis. For example, use Maslow's hierarchy of needs if studying employee motivation. The next you have to do is design the case study approach. You have to choose the case study type, like the single interventional that focus on one case to explore a specific issue, or the collective or multiple case studies that analyze several cases to compare perspective, or the intrinsic case study a unique or unusual case for its own sake. And then you have to select the research methodology. You will have qualitative for focus on interview, observation, and semantic analysis, or quantitative methodology use numerical data such as surveys or statistical analysis, or you want to use mixed methods, combine qualitative and quantitative approach for a comprehensive view. And then we have to determine the scope. Define what will be included or excluded in your study. For instance, are you focusing on a single department with a company or the entire organization? After that, you have to develop a data collection plan. In here, you have to identify data source. Gather the data from multiple sources to ensure a comprehensive understanding, such as interviews with key stakeholders, observation of the behavior and interaction, document like reports, email or policies, archival record for historical content. And then plan data collection method, how you collect the data. Design interview questions that align with your research objective, or you can use observation checklists to record behavior systematically, or organize focus groups for collective insight. Ethical consideration. Obtain informed consent from a participant, ensure confidentiality and anonymity where needed, address potential bias by acknowledging the research perspective. Okay, for the next step is collect the data. How you collect the data? First one, you can conduct interviews. Use open-ended question to explore participant perspective deeply. For example, can you describe how this program has impacted your daily activities? And the second way, observe the case in action. Note key behaviors, interaction, and environmental factor. Example, in an organizational case study, observe how team members communicate during meeting. Or the way you can collect the data is document everything. You can take detailed notes, record audio or video if permitted, or collect artifact like document, photos, or chart. And then triangulate data, combine multiple data sources that cross-check finding and ensure validity. The next step is analyze the data. The first one you have to do is organize the data, categorize information by themes, pattern, or chronological order. These tools like coding software for qualitative analysis, or you can use statistical tools for qualitative data. And then the thematic analysis. Identify recurring themes or issues that relate to your research objective. For example, leadership's impact productivity through improved team communication. Next, contextualize findings. Relate the findings to the real-world context of the case and the broader literature. For example, compare your findings with similar studies to highlight unique insight. The next step to make a study case is report the findings. The structure, the report follow a clear structure, typically including introduction, case background, methodology, finding, discussion, and conclusion. That's the structure of the case study. And then you present evidence. Use quotes, charts, or table to support your findings. For example, a table showing survey result comparing employee satisfaction before and after an intervention. The next step is validate the case study. Seek the feedback. Share your findings with participants or peers for validation. Next, check for consistency. Ensure the findings align with the data collected and the research objective. And then peer review. Ask colleague or mentor to review your analysis for clarity and credibility. The last step is reflect and revise. The first one is acknowledge limitation. Identify any constraints such as limited data or small sample size, and then iterate if it is necessary. Revise the report based on feedback to improve its clarity and the impact. So that's all for the step to make the case study. Now we move to the advantages and disadvantages for the case studies. First, we look at the advantages of case study. The first advantages is detailed understanding. This case study helps researchers study a topic in a depth understanding, like a deeper understanding. The second advantage is real-life connection, because this case study focuses on actual event or situation, making it practical. The next advantage is flexible. This case study can use different methods like interviews, observation, or document. The next advantage is generate ideas. This case study great for creating new ideas or research questions. Next advantage is encourage critical thinking. This case study makes people analyze and solve problems with using this method or this research. Now we move to the disadvantages of case study. The first, we have the not generalizable. This case study result from one case might not apply to others. The next is time consuming. This case study takes a lot of time to collect and analyze data. The next disadvantage is risk and bias. This research might influence the findings. The next disadvantage is hard to repeat. Every case is unique, so it's difficult to replicate it. The last disadvantage is too much data. This case study handling a lot of information that can make the people overwhelmed.
The conclusion: the case study method has proven to be an essential approach in education and research, particularly in English language teaching or ELT. Its unique ability to develop deeply into specific real-world case allows educators and researchers to gain profound insight to complex phenomena. By focusing on actual scenarios, case studies bridge the gap between the theory and practice, fostering critical thinking, contextual learning, and analytical skill among students. So that's all from us. If you have any question, please go to the comment section and we need your reaction. Please like. Okay, thank you. Welcome.